start here, being the first one to start, and I promise I'll be brief and to the point because all exciting sessions will be after me. So I'm just the opening session, but I'll try to talk a little bit about QU. So in here, what I'll try to do is talk about the higher education, what we think about data, AI, and how we want to move forward. So just to open and give some context about the world that we're living in and how education is changing with time, we want to address a few main things, or mainly three things about AI and the future that we will go through. So navigating through change, there are three interesting facts that I found, and I think they're quite interesting. Number one is that 80% of the jobs that today's students going through, they still haven't been there and they won't be there up until 2030. So meaning, and I'm trying to reflect back. So I asked my students, I said, if we look at the jobs now, we have data science, analytics, AI, machine learning, and all of those are quite new. So they were not there 10 years before. So I think 10 years from now, we'll have some new areas. And now what we do, even with the IT sector, is that we don't have someone specialized in the data science or like AI. But what we do, we try to reskill and like upskill people to achieve those. But in the future, we expect new majors that will come all related to that. The second thing is that 1.3 billion people have competencies they're not aligned with their work that they do right now. So there's a huge gap with what we do and what is in there, and that's something that we need to work on, and we'll address a little bit about the AI and how it can help. And then the last thing is that 66% of the institutions reported increased need for the data science that they need in order for them to study the success of the students and how they do their job. And we'll talk a little bit more about it in the upcoming slide briefly. So just to move on a little bit, if we want to see the schemes of things and how things transitioned or started, so 2020 was the start of COVID year, so everyone had that year, and we had a big gap when it comes to how we operate and how we do things. And everything shifted to online, to Zoom and Teams and like all of that. So we tried to do that. 2021, we started thinking of hybrid. Like, let's say we can still have the online learning, but still have the person-to-person or the in-person sessions. And then in 2022, we started to become excited, and we said, okay, let's now do scalable things and let's try to rethink how we do. 2023 is now the AI. So ChatGPT and everything started within that year. DALL-E, if you want to do with images, and if you want to do with text, and now it's keep changing rapidly. So I think now with ChatGPT, there's so many versions coming in, and the more that we go into, and that's where we come to 2024. Many things are happening, but are we ready? So that is a question that we also need to think about it, and we also need to think of how we address this with the rapid change that keeps happening. So that is something for us to think about. Moving on, for Gartner, and what they said is that 70% of education content in teaching student and for research will be developed using the support of AI. And to be honest, as a teacher, just quit teaching a few months ago, I've been using AI in almost everything, and it really facilitates. But again, I think with the capabilities that keeps coming, it will be even more powerful and how we do this. And that's why for us right now, we really need to think about how we want to address this and how we want to do things in the future. To move on about this, so what are the current cases? And even if we want to think of the current cases and the future cases, we can dissect them into 4 different main areas. For research, now, many people use that, and even for me, when I do the research articles, it can help you with the citation, find resources, and there's so many other things that the AI can help with. With the admin parts, and mainly with the automation, filling parts, there are so many things that we can address using that. For the optimization and how we do productive things, that also helps. Now we can automate, again, linking back to the automation part. And for the teaching, there's so many things that we can do. And then even when it comes to the track of education, there is the AI that can grade for you. And even now with the handwriting, so you can upload the rubric and that something can be done. There's so many things that even now when it comes to AI being in the room, even with CCTV. So for example, some of the exams now, they have AI to catch people cheating. AI has been involved in almost every single thing, and it's really fascinating how we can use it. But again, I think the growth, and I'll talk about this in the next slide, and then I'll try to show you a case, and I will end. So this is the current issue that we're facing. As human beings, we have capacity to kind of learn, and that's time x-axis, volume of information y-axis. And if we see how AI is growing, it is quite huge. So now if you want to ask anything to ChatGPT or any other AI, it can give you mounds and mounds of information. But my question is like, what can we do? Because again, there are some things that we can do in order for us to address that gap, which is, we need to be able to trust the data that we have. We also need to be trained on how these data how it's used and how we can use them. Even for us at QU, we need to think of the strategy. What is the AI strategy moving forward? And also, what are the rules and policies? Where can we use that? For example, even when it comes to teaching, now, for example, teachers need to reinvent or rethink how they teach. For example, when we talk about teaching, I say, okay, now if I ask you to write 500 words essay, most of my students will go to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will do everything for them. But our question is that where we want to go? Or we need to reassess as teachers how we teach, but we can use or teach with the ChatGPT option. For example, when I taught before then, I used to tell my students, use it. I will not stop you from like using it, but I need to really get some learning outcomes. I need to be sure that you mastered the learning outcomes. So even for us as teachers, we need to reinvent and rethink how we do the teaching part. But it's not part of any institute or any entity, but we need to do this holistically as a QU and really think of the way forward. So that is something for us to do. And I will end with something exciting, more interactive. Is that how we visualize the AI within QU for the short term? Let's say if we want to start next year. So if we think about the journey or the student journey, so we have the teacher and we have the student, and between this we have data. And that data can be many, not just it's not only this, but again, we have projects, reading, exams, assignments, studying activities, grade. So all of these are data between the educator and the teacher and the student. And the problem is sometimes, because we are human beings, we don't get the right answers. So for example, I received an email 12 a.m. and the students expect me to respond at 12:01 a.m. and it's not going to happen. So sometimes there are some misinformation or things that human beings cannot do, but maybe with AI we can facilitate. So if we introduce the AI in between the student and the teacher, hopefully with the controlled data, we can facilitate all the information that we need. And it can be both ways, that the teacher is informed and the student is informed about that. And just to contextualize it or show you a little bit more, so let's say we have this chatbot option, and we have the student and we have the chatbot. So if I ask, when is my math test for the exam? And then the chatbot can respond within the data given to that student. So if it's on the syllabus, it's in there, then the chatbot can respond. And then we have an option if we want to add to the calendar. Yes, it can add to the calendar, so the student is actually informed about that. But let's take it even a step further and do the following thing. So now the student wants to study for the exam and is not sure about that. So we can ask, what is the format of the exam? So is it the math test? Yes. And then we can give details if those details are within the database that we have and it's accessible for the student. For example, we can say that there are two questions. Question 1 is true or false. Question 2, there's 7 short answers, but the professor will only consider the best 5. So those things help the student in the preparation phase. But let's now take it even a step further. So if you want to take it a step further, let's say 2 weeks later, and what students love the most is grades. So now comes the grades part. So we have this discussion, what is the grade in the exam? And then we have the grade is 65 out of 100. So again, and that's part of the data that we want to work on, is that 65 is meaningless without dissection, without understanding what is 65. So if we understand what's 65 with the AI, we can go and analyze the data and see how that would look like. So for example, so if the exam is composed of topics or learning outcomes, let's say 5 learning outcomes or 5 topics based on the exam, AI can dissect them or analyze the topics. So for example, now, if we see the topics, based on this student, we have deficiency in topic 4. So the student overall is doing well, but only topic 4 that needs some mastering or that. So that changes the whole thing. So, but when I give you an average grade of 65, that doesn't mean that's the end of the world, or you're not doing well, or that's like a D. So overall, the student's doing very well in all different aspects except for topic 4. So that's how we will tackle this. So even if we take this and analyze this further, if we want to compare the grade to the class room, so if the average, so those are the grades of the student, but then based on the class average, we will see that yes, maybe the student has deficiency in topic 4 based on the average and based on the statistical analysis that we have performed based on that class. So this helps the teacher immediately to mitigate or to put some plans to help the students to master or remaster topic 4. And just going back, so now the chatbot will give the student the data. So now we have the comprehensive data. So we have the average, the topics and stuff. But now where it comes for the recommendation, we can say, okay, now we can recommend more topics to more resources to topic 4 and to move this or to talk about this forward. So now the chatbot can give the student more data, all related to the topic 4. So for example, from the book, you can read all those pages. From the repository, Blackboard or Canvas or whatever learning management system that they're using, we can give all the files associated. And if you want to watch video, these are the videos associated. So that really helps the students to tackle the topic and master it in a proactive way rather than reactive way. So meaning like, I don't need to wait for the end of the year to restudy this, but we can give you plans beforehand to study. So that is something that we're really thinking to deploy within the near future, within the IT system, with the help of course, with like all the sectors, because we definitely believe in the power of data and how we can be more data-centric institution, focusing mainly on doing that. With that being said, I want to thank you, and I will let the next talk start. Thank you so much.
صباح الخير. السلام عليكم. Very good. Thank you for Dr. Naif. I think we didn't really coordinate, but I'm really happy of what the introduction he made, that I will take you through how Google, can help you in doing this, but in doing maybe like how you can leverage data and AI with Google, and how really there's two aspects to what I will be going through. Is the Google innovation in AI and how Google innovate. Because at the end, Dr. Naif spoke about use cases. It's all about this at the end. Technology is really equivalent today. There's a lot of technology in the market. Even open source are doing great. You can sometimes use not Google, not Microsoft, not OpenAI, but even go to an open source and really do amazing things. So just what you need today as students mainly and professors to think about what are these use cases, that what are these business outcomes that you want to get out from this technology. And this is the whole story. Today, if you want to start even your startup, if you have the idea, the democratization of technology is amazing, and it's becoming accessible, and I would say cheap. And really for students like you is the right time really to be in the market. So my name is Choki Taubi. Actually, I joined Google 3 years back. I'm responsible of data and AI. I've been prior to Google, I worked for IBM for 20 years, again on data. And I also, I had the pleasure to be part of university. I did a PhD on database, and I was teacher in France. So it's for me, teaching and all this. I'm really passionate about this. So and what I will do is I will try just maybe for some of you it might be a repeat or you know it, but I want just to tell you why today what we are living is really magic, right? In the past, we were saying AI is not magic. We heard it very, very often. But what we are going through today is, I would say, magic moments of AI. And I will just bring you back to the history to just try to understand why, from my perspective, why it's really a magic moment. Then, as I said, we'll go through what Google has done in this area and how really we can help you in innovation and in really even skilling you and giving you help on some on some courses, on really helping you even to ideate and find things. Okay. So if you go back, what we are having today, and I'm not teaching you something. If you go back to the history, the AI we know today started in the 40s. Really, and if I don't know, computer science in the room, Turing machine, Turing started it in the 40s. After Turing machine, he started working on cognitive science, and he believed that machines one day will be able to think, learn, and act as human beings. This was his beliefs. Okay, and in the 1950, he created his Turing test, or what we call imitation game. I don't know if you watched the movie Imitation Game, but the movie is speaking about Enigma is speaking about the Turing machine, but the name Imitation Game came from his test for AI, or what he thought can be a benchmark for AI, 1950. Okay, and then come in 56, John McCarthy defined AI. And again, if you go today to papers and research in this time, you see the definition that has been, when he used the term AI, the definition of AI he put together is still valid till today. It's really what we are doing today. And then it was a hype like today. And I hope today is not a hype only, but everyone started investing, a lot of investment in AI. And research centers and companies start putting money. This is why, we thought it's a hype. And then how we say that we felt at one point of time that people get stopped by the capabilities. They couldn't realize the dreams of Turing, right? And 70s, 80s, we went through what we call the AI winters. And why I would say we thought and we felt this because of the investment in AI. It went down. Today everyone wants to invest. We know this. If in 1-2 years, I don't think this time is going this way. But then 70s, 80s were very, very bad, I would say, time for AI, because people stopped believing in it till 1997, Deep Blue with IBM. So IBM, it was the first breakthrough in AI, where IBM put together a machine who was able to beat the Garry Kasparov. Okay, and it was really the first time we could really put I would say artificial intelligence who could be better than a human being in an intelligent, I would say, game. Back again to 2011, again IBM, this time with, I would say this was really a big breakthrough because this was on with IBM Watson. Why it was that? Because it was on natural language. Is this game, it was a Jeopardy game, it's a TV show. And why, for me, it was really a big jump, because here the machine was able to understand natural language and to be quicker than the best player, again, in the US in this game that's called Jeopardy, on general information. So the machine was able to interpret and understand the question, find the answer, and be quicker than the human being. Again, you see this. And here we started this era of understanding the language, which today is what we are living, is the most important, is that communicating with AI, if the AI understand us, and then it has intelligence behind this is the first step to start really getting the value and everything out of it. Google came to this in 2015 with AlphaGo, and this is another big jump, because this one is again a game. The idea of research is not to play games, but it's really to develop technology based on game. The Go game is, you might heard about it, Chinese game. What is impressive about it is the number of moves in the Go game is more than the estimated number of atoms in the world. It's amazing, it's big. So it's endless, the possibilities. And then based on reinforcement learning and based on new way to develop AI, Google built a machine called AlphaGo, again, was able to beat the best player in the world in this game. Okay? Then what we are living today, we are proud. I'm not saying, we're proud to say it started at Google in 2017 with a technology we were developing to improve translation. Okay, we were working on our Google Translate, and to improve this like hallucination between languages, we came up with an architecture called Transformer, and we open source it. And this is very important, back to open source. Google is really very, that we develop things for you to know. Google started the big data with MapReduce. Google developed TensorFlow and open sourced it. Google did Kubernetes, which is today the only way to think about how to build applications. And even today, generative AI started at Google. Okay, Transformer came to and we'll see that we didn't stop there. I will take you through what Google has done. We have many projects today on AI. One of them is last week, or maybe 2 weeks back, we won on it a Nobel Prize. The AlphaFold project, I don't know if you have heard about it. DeepMind, our DeepMind CEO, won a Nobel Prize. And this is why it's important, and linking this together. AlphaFold is in the healthcare, okay? But it's based on the same technology, on the same algorithm, on the transformer. So we are using this transformer technology, and think about not only to generate emails or to summarize documents, but also to bring in, like I would say, innovation in other areas. Very good. So today, as I said, Google started Transformer in 2017. And of course, we started developing our own models on this, our own AI models. The first one of them was BERT in 2018. BERT was specialized again in translation, right? Because this is the first aim of first objective of developing the transformer. Okay, and then we developed many other solutions. AlphaFold is one of them. But in 2020, we developed an internal chatbot, was called Lambda. And Lambda stayed in Google, inside Google. We never published, we never put it in the market, but it was about the chatbot we see today in 2020. Okay, we thought that the technology wasn't ready. And Google, from responsible AI, we don't want to put things in the market which are not ready. This is why we never released it for Lambda. You see here, it's 2020. And then 2022, we started, OpenAI released ChatGPT, which we just heard from Dr. Naif. He mentioned it many times. The ChatGPT, the T in GPT is transformer. Okay, so then we developed Palm and we put it in the market. And today, as we speak, in 2023, we released Gemini. The Gemini is the equivalent of, it's the only model in the market, which is what we call multimodal. It's the only model in the market today that can deal with text, images, videos, and in the same question, in the same prompt, you can mix images, videos, and text together to ask questions. And it will not go and call another model. It's itself. It will really. It's trained on structure and multimodal data, and it can interact with you in multimodal. So today, and Google believes that for you, if you want to develop your application, you don't always need the big model. You don't always, for some tasks, and by the way, this is the future. I invite you to read a paper for Demis Hassabis, who is the CEO of DeepMind. As I said, he won the Nobel Prize. He's speaking about the future of AI is what we call agent or agentic approach. So we'll be developing agent like the agent you have seen for students. It will be kind of like a personal assistant, and you can develop these agents for specific tasks. So this is why we are developing multiple models that are specialized in, we have, for example, a model specialized in image generation, it's called Imagen. We have model for code generation. Where we do this because when you do task-specific LLM, they will be more accurate for what you need them to do. They might hallucinate and not be able to answer other type of questions, but for their own skills, they will be better than the generic ones. Okay? So today Google has, this is some examples of model. We have Flash, and this is another thing. We need also to help people. If you want, Flash has the same capabilities of Gemini, but it's quicker and give you sometimes it's not very verbal. It gives you short answers. It has the same capability. It sometimes give less details than Gemini, but it's quicker. And sometimes you need quick things. Then Gemini 1.5 Pro is the top one. And the good thing or the advanced thing Google has done today is in the window, the prompt window. When you ask questions, you know that today you are limited in the size of question. So you can, in some systems, it's 128K. Another system is less and more. And this is very important. If you want to interact, you might need, if you want to put, for example, a large document, and you want to ask questions on this document, some of the chatbot in the market are limited. Google is offering you in one model a 2 million token window. What does it mean? You can put a video of 2 hours as in the question, in the prompt, and you can ask question about it. I will show you an example just in a moment. Then we are also again, open source, back to open source. We released in the market, we have Gemma 2 for you as student, you can use it. Gemma is a open model that you can download it and install it on your laptop or on any other cloud. You don't need to use Google for it. This is, and Gemma is really having the same capabilities of Gemini, but it's that can be used on other platforms. Let me adjust. I want to be very interactive. Any questions so far? Any? Yes, please. Well, it can run on, we have different version of it. You have 9 billion parameter or 27 billion. It can run on a laptop with GPUs on it. I can give you, I can share with you maybe the specifications, but you can, based on what the power you have, you can go for the 9 billion parameters. If you have more power, you can go to 27. But I have seen people running it on a laptop, a MacBook with GPUs, MacBook Pro with GPUs on site. Any other? Gemma is not paid, yeah. Gemma is free. It's open model. It's not an open source in the sense you can take it and fork it. There is a limitation, but you can take it and use it outside of Google. Okay, but it has some limitations in the fact it's not a model that you can customize it for you. You know, to fork. I can, but there's difference between open source and open model. Gemma is an open model. This is a good question about, you know, think about, you have this Gemini and you want to tune it or customize it. If your it's in the prompt or in the tuning, your question is. If you prompt in a question, there is no, Google will not retain it at all. Yeah, it will retain the history of conversation with you, but it will not retain the prompt in Google premises. It's your data. Okay. But the question also comes when, if you want to customize these models. So Gemini, for example, we have, we'll come to it toward the end, you can tune it to your own business language. And for that, you build what you call adapter on top. Is think about a layer that changes the parameters of the model to make them more personalized for you. This data is stored on your tenant. It will not leave. For example, in Qatar today, we have the technology that allows you to do this. So the data will not leave. It will customize Gemini that is sitting in the US, but the data you use to train it, it will not leave the country. I hope we will hear the sound here. Just, I want to show an example. What does it mean, a token of 2 million? Here we are using 1.5 Pro, where we are uploading a video of 44 minutes without Gemini knowing about it. So you have Gemini behind, and you say, okay, I want to question and interact with Gemini on this video. So the video will show you the capabilities we have today on multimodal, on the fact that I can put a large amount of data even in my prompt. Okay, it's 2 minutes video. I will let you watch it.
This is a demo of long context understanding, an experimental feature in our newest model, Gemini 1.5 Pro. We'll walk through a screen recording of example prompts using a 44-minute Buster Keaton film, which comes out to over 600,000 tokens. In Google AI Studio, we uploaded the video and asked, find the moment when a piece of paper is removed from the person's pocket and tell me some key information on it with the timecode. This screen capture is sped up, and this timer shows exactly how long it took to process each prompt. And keep in mind that processing times will vary. The model gave us this response, explaining that the piece of paper is a pawn ticket from Goldman & Company pawnbrokers with the date and cost. And it gave us this timecode 1201. When we pulled up that timecode, we found it was correct. The model had found the exact moment the piece of paper is removed from the person's pocket, and it extracted text accurately. Next, we gave it this drawing of a scene we were thinking of and asked, what is the timecode when this happens? This is an example of a multimodal prompt where we combine text and image in our input. The model returned this timecode, 1534. We pulled that up and found that it was the correct scene. Like all generative models, responses vary and won't always be perfect. But notice how we didn't have to explain what was happening in the drawing. Simple drawings like this are a good way to test if the model can find something based on just a few abstract details, like it did here. These are just a couple examples of what's possible with a context window of up to 1 million multimodal tokens in Gemini 1.5 Pro.
As you have seen this, here the video is silent movie. So, and imagine if even there is also maybe subtitles or transcription, you can even the system can be even more smart in finding things. And this is really a real example, so you can test it. And this was, as I said, with 1 million. Today we improved it to 2 million. The token can be even larger. Okay, you know.
This is a demo of.
Okay. Now, as I said, we have I gave only we have also task specific models with which, for example, Imagen is one of them for image generation. If you want only, you can use Gemini for image generation. It embeds these capabilities, but imagine if you want only image generation. Because what is happening today is when you develop your generative AI application, you build a pipeline. And you can today mix and match, and Google allows you to do this. Mix and match the models. If your models, for example, you want to have text to speech, you can use one model. If you want to have image recognition, you can use another model. If you want image generation, you can use either Google or third party, like Midjourney, for example. If really you think there is something in the market doing better than Google in this task. So Imagen 3 today is one of the fastest image generation model in the market. It's very fast in generating, and it has been improved big time in the quality of images, in the speed. It can generate in 9 seconds more than four images for you. It's really one of the latest, I would say, model we have just released. Just as I said, you know, I want just to give you a glimpse about what we are doing, you know, in AI, how Google, you know, evolved in generative AI. Before really going to I have some words on technology. What's the technology behind you? As university today, you are using already. We are working with our partner Quantify on some of use cases on data mainly. I will speak about the stack of solutions later on. Just 1-2 slides to tell you what's behind and how you can leverage all of this. But before going there, so I found out that, as I said, it's very important, you know, to give you a glimpse about how Google, you know, what's the Google mindset for innovation and why innovation should be really like a kind of culture. You know, you have this culture of, you know, because as I said, you have technology today is accessible. With cloud is the quantity of capabilities, the easiness of accessing technology is amazing. All what we need is idea, right? If you have the right idea, you can today do the next big, I would say, unicorn in the market. So Google started like this. And I've got, I didn't put the image here, but I've got even the invoice of the first data center that Sergey and, you know, they built. It was an $8,000 cost of a data center to build. And it started in a garage, as you might know. And then Google today is this. You know, Google has 26 years. You know, we started in 1998. It has been officially put in the market, 98. Last year was 25 years. We celebrated it. And imagine what we have done with Google Cloud is bringing, and this is very important for you to understand, what is Google Cloud in Google. Google is big. Google is part of Alphabet. Like the company is called Alphabet, and under it there is different divisions. One of them is only on innovation. It's called 10x. It's really taking care of. We have a lot of projects. If you want later on, we can discuss offline. We have a lot. Like AlphaFold is one of them. So we do a lot of research. We do a lot of things, and on top of it, we have Google. And in Google, you have the Google for consumers, Google Search, Google YouTube, Google Photos, Drive, all of this. We have 10 applications today, 10. Has more than 1 billion users, active users. And 5 of them more than 2 billion active users, like Gmail, for example. I'm mentioning this to tell you what Google has done is we developed infrastructure, we developed databases, we developed big data, we developed AI. And what we have done, we said, okay, this technology, this infrastructure behind, we want to offer to enterprise. And this is what's Google Cloud. Google Cloud is all the infrastructure and technology that it's empowering search, YouTube, and others. It's in the hand of universities and organizations to build their own application. And today we have more than 38 data centers in the world, and the first one in the Middle East and Africa was built in Qatar. Now we have 3. We have one in Saudi and one in South Africa, but the first one in the whole, from Turkey to South Africa, has been, we started here in Qatar. So you have to be proud that you have been the first in the region, and in the whole region to be, to have Google Cloud. So how we think about innovation. I will give quick things about, like, it's maybe I can give an example about what we call 10x. Ford, you know, Ford who, like, for the cars, Ford came, like, he has a quote, like back in the 40s, he said, and even before, sorry, and he said, if you asked people what they need, they would tell you they need quicker horses. So people like people who doesn't think about innovation, they have things in hand, and you tell them how you will increase the capabilities of what you have. And you say, okay, I want to make it quick. Then he thought about cars, right? You know, instead of having faster horses, and this is from where is coming the power of cars and horses, right? So, so this is very important. The 10x, thinking big, thinking about not, for example, and I have the example later on. Today, Google, the Google Map, we have a crowdsourcing possibility. So we ask people to enhance Google Map. Instead of us adding things, we opened it to the whole world. Imagine if 2 billion people are enhancing and participating. This is what we call 10x. So you need always to think out of the box. So just very important is to experiment. And in research, we do this, right? We keep testing things. Experimenting is very important. Let me give you another example. A teacher, a photograph teacher having photographs. He wants to teach them about how to build or take better pictures. And he split the group, his students in 2 groups. One group, he asked them to focus on taking the best shots. Just take their time, but give me best shots. And the other group, he asked them to take as many pictures as they can. You have the right to, there is no limit. And guess what? After this experiment, who brought better picture? The second one. The second one, and it is actually, this is the recipe of, you know, if you try more things, yes, you have a higher rate of failure, but you have also a higher rate of success. So this means you need really to experiment and restart. And I don't know if you know this marshmallow game with sticks, marshmallow and sticks. And they found out that the best group in building the higher tower are kids in kindergarten, because they have no fear of failing. And while I run sometime design thinking workshop, and I ask people to do it, they start thinking about designing the base, and they spend their time. And kids, they start just putting things together, and they will fail one time, they restart, and so on and so forth. This is very important about the 10x way of thinking. So, and we have developed I don't know how many of you, I don't know if the university is teaching design thinking. Design thinking, you have courses on design thinking? No? Very good. You need, it's very important about really putting people together and think. No need? Really, it's amazing how much, like, if you put a group of people together and give them the time to and not the, I would say, push them to prototype things and think about something Google thinks about is what we call put the user first. is really think about who are you developing the product for. Don't think about what is the best. And this is, by the way, when they speak about Steve Jobs, this is his mindset, saying, I want to develop something that people will like. You think about the other, and this is the design thinking approach is becoming popular in groups of people and between you as students, even when you go in companies. Bringing this is a very and putting the user first. I want to put this picture. This is what. This is for kids, right? This is what we see as parents, right? How do you think the kid is seeing it? He's seeing it from down, right? So you are very happy. Oh man, well, this is very nice. And these are just I would say pieces of paper, right? You are happy with it, but the user doesn't see it the way you see it. So it's one of the things you have to think about is how, and this is in design thinking. The first thing we do is thinking about who is the user to prototype for, and we have something called empathy map. How I can take the role of this user and think his way to develop the product he or she would like, right? I spoke about this in Google Maps, the fact that the crowdsourcing, it's a way to collect more data from everyone in the world instead of us adding things or really correcting things. We need feedback from people, and we open it for. So you see here, if I was myself to just add streets and correct it, it's what you call 10% thinking. You need to think 10x like Ford, right? Very good. I will now take you through. This is one example of, I think it is what we have seen with Dr. Naif. We are working on a project called Spark project to enhance our search engine and to make it more agentic and more customized for people. I will run this video, and it's I don't know how much time I still have. I think it's still have 10 minutes. It's the same. There's no sound. Okay, it's the same. How we can personalize. You see, think about your search engine as a student, your internal website, like it's designed for you. What you need to see, and interacting with it in natural language, as we have seen, on your, like having 65. But it's important to understand why we get this note, and we are redesigning the UI to make it more appealing. And we will release one version in December. We start putting in preview, and here we are combining, generative AI with the agent approach, with personalized way to interact with the search engine. Google, and I always say this is a bit commercial marketing. Who else than Google can help you to build a search engine? And Google today, we have a capability in the product. You can go and build a search engine for your own knowledge base by just pointing the agent to your database or knowledge base, and it will build a search engine, and not a text-based search engine. Is a natural language search engine with semantic understanding, with follow-up questions, with interaction, and this can be built. This is something really. This is the kind of thing today you will see coming in search. Very good. So thinking about use cases, when we, generative AI, back to reality. When thinking about generative AI, at the beginning, all of us were only thinking about the creating, right? It's called generative AI, generating things. But actually, it can help to do more, much more. From, I would say, improving time to value, searching for information, summarizing information, helping teachers to create exams questions or quizzes, helping them to summarize, maybe You have an essay, you give them an essay, they can summarize it, they can go to the essence of it. This is from teacher perspective. One of the very advanced thing happening today, as I said, is interaction with people, because this generative AI started with language. Don't forget it. Then this is why it's is mastering language, and interaction with people becomes more personal. Now chatbots become much more personalized. We used to have chatbots like the call centers, when you call and you have one, till now, some banks you call them, choose one and you stay 3 minutes, and if you miss the option, you have to go back, click on star, and you stay. And then even chatbots, they were very limited, right? And if you come next day, they forgot what you told them or the interaction on the first day. Imagine chatbots that will become they will become assistant actually, and they will be remembering your interaction with them, and you can go back to your questions a week back or a month back. And okay. Creation is, of course, one big thing. And last one, developers. For today, generative AI, I don't know, I think I'd say the most, I would say, in industry, in companies, the areas like taking profit of generative AI the most is development, software development, not creating images. And it's accelerating the way to develop application. And it is really having time to production very short now in finding bugs. And it's really amazing and today also on development side, you can customize your own generative AI. You can build, I don't know how many of you are helping us on the FANAR project. I know Qatar University is, anyone from the student here is, we are, Google is working with the government on the Arabic centric LLM, FANAR. No, nobody's heard about FANAR. Very, very good. So building from scratch, they are building with QCRI. We are building a LLM, Arabic centric LLM from scratch. For the simple reason, how, I will ask one more question, sorry. How the percentage of Arabic content on the web in percentage? 5, 10, 6? The Arabic overall, the Arabic content percentage. 1%. 1%. So Gemini, ChatGPT, they are very good in Arabic, right? But they do it in translate things. But from culture, from biases, they are trained on non-Arabic language, right? On mainly more than 50%, I think it's English. There is a website telling you Google search, like Google search it, you will find. But there is really, and this is why, if you want something that take your culture into question and really Arabic savvy, we are developing it from scratch, using the technology and using a lot of GPUs this time, not only one GPU. Exactly. Even if translation is, but still, and even it's Arabic will be perfect sometimes from language perspective, but the content itself, it's biased. It's is pushing you toward maybe other culture, right? In everything, in every interaction, it's not taking into account your own culture. So I think this is what Dr. Naif left. Yeah, this is one of the use case. I think he started thinking about it, having an AI assistant, I would say, for students and for teachers. Okay, this is one of the use case you can think about. Okay, and this is really can be, you see here the AI assistant in the middle, It can be integrated. We saw a simple example. It's integrated with the exam. It's integrated with the materials. It's integrated. But I think it can be integrated with any other applications. More than 100 connectors we have today that allows you to integrate with databases, with external data sources, with, and then it can be integrated with Google Workspace. I don't know if it's used in Qatar University today. And it's giving, it will become your like your personal assistant for everything. Back to the technology, as I promised, I want to put one, just nothing to do. I will not go deep, but this is on our Google platform. These are the different, really a subset, a small set of the capabilities you might need in developing your AI applications, whether predictive or generative, okay? So today with Quantify, you are already using some of our technology, BigQuery today, and there is some AI built on top of it to predict student churn. And but our approach is a platform approach, and it's very important to remember this. Google is the only company in the world today having the full stack. From infrastructure, so we work with NVIDIA on GPUs, but we have our own TPUs, Tensor Process Unit. It's the only processor in the world. It's designed for AI. So it's the architecture is, even your script should be adapted to it because it understands how to parallelize AI. We can use it, even Gemini is trained on TPUs. We don't use GPUs. Other also company like Anthropic, Apple, Midjourney, they are using Google. Okay? So then we have a layer for data governance, which is very important. We spoke about language, but we spoke about the quality of data. Then you have the area where you can store data. We have different capabilities, database and data warehouse, lakehouse. The most important I want to bring in for the topic today is what we call Vertex AI. Vertex AI is a AI platform for MLOps. It gives you the full pipeline between data engineers, data AI, data science, and developers. And very important, it offers you first a library of models. It's called Model Garden. And this library includes Google, Gemini, and others, AI and LLM models, but also more than 150 open source and third-party models. So in the same application you will be developing using Vertex, you can mix and match Google LLM with other LLMs. Okay, and we have in the same platform the MLOps, but also Agent Builder. Remember, I said we are going toward agent in this world of large language model. Agent Builder can help you build chatbots, search engines, recommendation engines out of the box. So we'll have one minute. So yeah, this is just a summary of Vertex. We will give you this. There is more, I think 11 training you can get if you want to get trained on Google technology, on AI and generative AI technology. We have all these courses available online. And I want to conclude with this. As I said, remember I said design thinking. I think Dr. Naif spoke about AI strategy. You have to think about not having, I think as student, maybe as university, you have to think about how to transform Qatar University on AI centric. And very important, I want to mention the third one where you need really to run these design thinking workshop. We can run them with Quantify. We can run them as Google to help you identify the top quick wins that can help you really to experiment and to develop the top priority use cases. Okay. With that, I think I'm done. Thank you so much. Have time for questions or no? Yeah, any questions? Yes. I think you have access today at Qatar University. You have, right? They have the landing zone and they have access. So what I wanted to advise also maybe is to build an AI lab. You have already access to Google technology in Qatar University. You need just to discuss with who will give you a project inside it where you can experiment. But you have access to all the services of Google Cloud today in Qatar University. Yes?
All the three major AI tools, Copilot, ChatGPT, and Gemini.
Very good. So Copilot, yeah, the question is about the nuances between three tools, Copilot, ChatGPT, and Gemini. So Copilot is the equivalent of what we call, sorry for that, I want to cut. Gemini for Google Workspace is just a subset that allows you to work on your docs, slides, do some code generation. Gemini also integrated with Google Cloud. It can help you to generate code, SQL code on, if you're a business user in natural language, you can ask questions. This is Copilot. ChatGPT is the equivalent of gemini.google.com. We have a version, I don't know if you have tested it, gemini.google.com. It's our equivalent to ChatGPT. You can go online. There is a free version. You can test it. You can compare answers if you want. And there is a subscription version, okay? And then this is the equivalent. The Gemini itself as a model, it's run behind Vertex AI for enterprises. So we have a consumer a chatbot. It's called gemini.google.com. And we have an enterprise one. Now from capabilities, last point, I promise. I think there is a race. You know, in some stuff, and I have seen some comparison, right? In some questions, they say, Gemini is answering slightly better than ChatGPT. Then there is a race. There is, my advice to you is think about long term, about the stability. This is why I spoke about Google having the end-to-end, and it's developed by Google. Gemini is a Google lab developed by our DeepMind lab. It's a Google product. So I think for the long run, I would say that from stability, reliability, Google is for enterprises is a better choice from really future-proof AI. This is my conclusion. Even if I'm not in Google, I would choose Google. Any more questions? Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. My bad. Thank you so much, Dr. Shawi. Really insightful session and leaves me with a lot of pressure to match the vision and the energy that Dr. Shawi brought in front of all of you. So thank you so much for being such a pleasant audience. I know the sessions have been really informative, and I'm certain that you'll walk away with a lot of learning and a lot of excitement in your upcoming journey in education and your day-to-day curriculum. I'm Kanishk, and I lead the Middle East go-to-market for Quantify, an organization which is a Google Cloud Premier Partner across the globe. And on insistence of Google Cloud, we are also formally launched in Qatar. We have an entity set up just as of yesterday formally. We have the lease license agreement formally done and executed. So what it brings for you in Qatar is our global experience working with some of the most renowned universities across the globe, bringing Google Cloud's AI data capabilities in the education ecosystem, and what you can derive from the learnings that we have from the global ecosystem. So thank you so much, Dr. Shawi. We just wanted to start with Hala Doha. It's a pleasure to be here. Yes, and it's a home. The way I see, I've been here past 18 months every month, and so far, I promised my organization that Qatar University would be my second home, and so far it is. This is a proud moment for all of us to be here, meeting all of you, interacting with all of you. Such a big gathering here already. So I'm certain that the times ahead are going to be really, really exciting. We can move forward. Thank you. And this is the essence of what we are trying to explain. The title here is Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. That is a Sanskrit saying, one of the oldest languages in the world. The meaning is the world is one big family. We all are family members disjointed by geographies, but eventually it is a family which is learning, sharing, and growing together. And how Quantify connects the family is through technology brought by Google Cloud and, of course, some of the other technologies as well, which you would be working upon in the near future. So the intention is how we can share our learnings with the family here in Qatar University and how you can leverage the same, grow forward, probably be more efficient in your research, in your operational day-to-day tasks, or in fact for some of the creative new things that you want to bring to life. And education is the place which impacts the grassroots of the country where all the innovation is happening. There's a lot of theory that goes on behind just executing the thought process. There are a lot of research papers that are being written here. I'm certain that the university has a lot of grants as well. So how can you best leverage the world that has to offer to you and grow forward exponentially from here, probably increase your insightful research, leveraging, what Dr. Naif and Dr. Shawi already mentioned, which is generative AI. How can you make generative AI your friend and grow forward with the help of that virtual assistance and increase your I would say efficiency, but also giving you the free time to think beyond the obvious. And the universities are a place where a lot of innovation happens, and you need a lot of, I would say, mental free time to look beyond what is there already in obvious. And that's where generative AI and AI will come in handy to give you that personal time, automating a lot of mundane tasks. Maybe you have to send out reports or complete an assignment. Can you do it 30% faster? Yes, of course. That's where AI and generative AI will help you. And we as an organization with Google Cloud expertise are here to walk with you, train you. If there's any requirement that you feel that this is a technology that I need more hands-on learning, please feel free to share. We will be there to walk you through, conduct sessions. We have technology experts who are experts in solution architecture, data analytics, artificial intelligence, and generative AI. Any point in time you feel that, hey, Gemini 1.5, I have to use, how can I make this a bit more customized for my requirement? And that's where we are committed to ensuring that you get the best support. Um, Maybe Google team would be short on bandwidth, but we are there to support you. Yes. So what we do, and in fact, before I go into what we do, it is more important for what our belief system is. The belief system which says that what are we using AI for and why are we using AI for at the first place? Is it to do some kind of an HR analytics, some kind of report automation, or we are using AI to impact the future of lives? Can we save lives? We all have experienced dramatic changes during the COVID-19 period, where suddenly there was a chaos everywhere. People were locked down, people could not go out, and the challenge that was, how can we ensure that the drug discovery time is expedited? But the faster the drug is shared with you, the chances of saving someone's life is increased. And also at the same time, not impacting the discovery time because of testing on animals, and then the entire life cycle goes 6 months down the process. So while we know that the drugs have to be very, I would say, effective, it should not have any side effects. can AI help you create all those simulations and give you the best outcome, which is safe to use? The way we in India have seen is, animals are used for drug testing, and somehow, if the drug is a success, then also the animals are culled, or if it's a failure, just to avoid any kind of mutation coming out, they're also culled. So on average, 500,000 to 1 million animals who are used in drug discovery are killed. So can we use AI to impact the lives of someone who cannot speak? So I'll just let this quick 2-minute video play for you, and the voice as well.
Safety and efficacy testing involves conducting animal studies, which pose the challenges of loss of animal life. Every year, millions of animals are subjected to scientific experiments, most of which are sacrificed at the end of the studies. Low translational data. 96% of drugs that pass animal tests fail in human clinical trials. High costs and time-consuming. Since animal models do not mimic the human system completely, getting a close predictive rate is extremely time-consuming, and the maintenance of the animal subjects increases the overall costs. With the FDA Modernization Act 2.0 and European Parliament adopting a new resolution to phase out animal testing, the need for a shift is more urgent than ever. At Quantify, we are helping biopharma companies with the digital animal replacement technology DART solution that utilizes intelligent technologies and deep neural network algorithms to generate highly accurate test results.
So, and again, we did not connect before, neither Dr. Naif, neither Dr. Shawi and I, but all of the three people who worked on the representation for you have just one common agenda: how can we bring the best? So connecting to what Dr. Shawi was mentioning on AlphaFold, this solution was built on AlphaFold, and this kind of innovation is actually groundbreaking for the Nobel Peace Prize that the AlphaFold team got. So the intent is, how can we make things better with Google and of course your participation, and make a life-changing impact. The other thought process is, how can we, this was for animals, can we help humans also increase their life expectancy when unfortunate accidents happen? Unfortunately, brain is the most complex machine, much, much more complex than the convoluted neural networks that you see or the deep minds that you see. So in case of an accident, there is a higher chance of, in case of an accident involving a head injury, the brain clots are a most common thing. And in order to get the patient to safety, you need to understand where the brain clot is, how much is the clot, should you inject a medicine, or it's okay if you just give them a tablet, or you need to perform. And this is on the second the doctors have to make a decision. They have to put the patients through CT scans and have to look at very, very minutely. Then imagine what AI is doing in this scenario. Each of the CT scan is extrapolated in AI and looked for each and every pixel, each and every artery, each and every subartery, the clot size, and it's all within milliseconds itself. So the life-changing decision of whether a surgery on the brain has to be performed or not, or whether medicine itself would save life, this is where we are using Google Cloud's technologies to create that impact. And in fact, coincidentally, this was done with another university in the US, Johns Hopkins University. So it started as a research project with them, and eventually it expanded to a full-blown project where these solutions are now being implemented to save lives on the go. There are plenty of exciting use cases that we have solved with Google Cloud, not just in US, but in Europe as well, where the pulmonothoracic diseases are also identified looking at the scans, because these are those moments where, life can be saved by administering the right drug. We can move forward. I know it is a lot of research and a lot of data. I know the other thing that connects Qatar is football. Give me a yes, how many would say football is one of the most played sports in Qatar? Any particular team apart from Qatar, any European team that you support, Barcelona, Manchester United, Arsenal. Anyone? Yeah, so this is one thing that I wanted to bring to you, because one thing is all the serious things that we do as an organization. How can we impact the lives? How can we improve life expectancy? The other part is how can we make the life fun for our people? Because at the end of the day, if you're not having fun with technology, you're not enjoying and you're not experimenting enough. So our journey with Qatar started way back in 2022, the FIFA World Cup. Big stage, huge number of people coming from different geographies of the world: Spanish, Portuguese, French, Japanese, Korean, German. The world was converging in Qatar. And with that, the languages were also converging in Qatar. Uh, if I were to ask you this question, what is the biggest innovation humankind has ever made? Any guesses? It could be fire. Open to suggestions. 3 wild guesses, anyone? Biggest innovation humankind has ever made? Computers is one, yes. Any other? Agriculture, okay. Fire. Language. Well, innovations are definitely, fire is an innovation. Uh, everything is an innovation. But if I'm able to communicate with you in what my mind is interpreting as a message that I want to relay to you, language is the biggest innovation that has helped people communicate over the years and exchange ideas right from the cave paintings. Cave painting was also a language, if we were to see it, because someone as a hunter saw a lion and they made it so fearful that do not go to that lion because it will kill you. And on the other side, someone saw a deer and said that yes, you can kill it because its meat is delicious, etc. So from the early caveman drawings to the stage that we are today, I'm able to communicate. My native language is Hindi, which is much different from Arabic. And Arabic is one of the most comprehensive as well as difficult to learn language. I would love to learn Arabic in the near future, but till that time, is there a language that I can share with you? And the same thing happened when everyone converged to Qatar in the FIFA 2022. People who were German wanted to speak in German. People who were, Portuguese wanted to speak in Portuguese, French, Spanish, and so on. And that's when we worked with Ooredoo, which is the biggest telecom operator in Qatar, because they were also facing challenges. They had their contact centers. When I speak of a contact center, it is, a building where a lot of people who are taking calls and addressing, is this internet pack going to suffice for my 10-day trip? Or is this Hala pack going to help me communicate with my friends back in home? Because with the FIFA World Cup, a lot of people were also video calling. Internet pack used to get over within less than 2 days' time. And a barrage of questions would come to the contact center. When I speak of contact centers with, let's say, 500, 600 people who are working night and day to make sure that the queries that people are asking are getting addressed. Imagine all of you go to, let's say, India or Japan, and you have some queries that, hey, my internet is not working. I have to call my mom and tell her that I'm fine, but your internet is not working. And that is a very stressful moment. And all you know is there's a contact center where you can call and get the questions answered. And you are already panicked because you want to communicate to your mom. Maybe something has happened and you're not able to do so. So you call the contact center, but they're not able to understand your language. Language, which is the genesis of the biggest evolution of the humankind. And and there's a long wait time. Maybe you're waiting for 5 minutes to get speaking to the agent, and that's where after 5 minutes they're not able to help you answer the question. So now it becomes very irritating, and it's neither your fault nor their fault that they're not able to understand the language. Less than 30 days it took us to create an application for Ooredoo, which could answer in a language, 7 different languages we converted into Spanish, Portuguese, German, Korean, and other 3 languages which I don't remember now way back. But it could address all your queries on the moment's notice within less than 30 seconds. It had all the historical questions at the back end, which is, let's say, people are asking questions about, hey, my internet pack is not activated. What do I need to activate? Do I need a data pack as well to communicate? All of this was at the back end. All you need to do was ask a question. The keyword would be selected, and basis that keyword, the most relevant answer would be given to you in less than 30 seconds. I would say much lesser than 30 seconds, but eventually your problem is solved. You are happy. The people who are working in the contact centers night and day would not have to work night and day, because suddenly there'll be 1 million tourists coming to Qatar, and a month down the line, half of them are gone or 70% of them are gone. So what happens is you brought a lot of people with multilingual capacity onto your platform, and then after the demand is over, you have to let them go. So that's where AI came in play. Translation into multiple languages, which Dr. Shauvi was also speaking about. How can you improve that education? And here as well in Qatar University, I'm certain that there are people and students from all the world. How can you ensure that they are getting an experience which is superlative? At the end of the day, AI is not just supposed to give you things faster. It is also helping you improve your experience each time you interact with them. Consider booking an Uber. Earlier, much before Uber era was there, people had to book taxis and call, but now Uber came in, Talabat is here. The experience of you interacting with the application is evolving, and it is a thing of the research paper again. How do you improve the design experience, which also Dr. Shawi was speaking? How do you ensure that with minimal clicks, your work is getting done and you are moving faster? So all of that AI will help you. And yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, please keep it that, because we are speaking of football. This is the most recent thing that Dr. Shavi is also speaking about, inserting a 40-minute or uploading a 40-minute video and then identifying where is the paper in that entire video. So with Google itself, I did it early this year with one of the biggest football leagues in the world. And the problem that they were facing is they had huge video content. When I speak of huge video content, as long as the clubs have been existing since 1960s, 1970s, they've already recorded the videos of the football players taking shots, making moves, executing key penalty strokes, and also rivalries between teams. So rivalries, when I say, if I were to ask you two famous footballers basis rivalry, what and who would you recommend? The name of the top two footballers that comes to your mind, in case anyone would want to give me a name. Ronaldo and Messi. Exactly the point. And they're playing at home or they're playing away. As kids, how were they? What was the first video of Messi playing football in a club? What was the first video of Ronaldo playing in the same club? And then you start to compare who's actually a better player than them, either of them. How many of them got a red card for their own faults? How many of them got a red card because the referee felt so that they need to be given a red card? And those are moments which are in time. If either of the player retires someday, suddenly the Instagrams and the social media would be flooded with all the key moments of Messi scoring a penalty in Qatar, winning the gold, winning the World Cup, and just so on and so forth. So how does that impact your search and retrieval of information? So that's where we bring in AI. These are the three scenarios that we focused, that each and every moment, just like Dr. Shavi showed that paper note, is there a red card? Is there a yellow card? Is Ronaldo playing with 07 jersey? I hope that's his number. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel that is the number. Messi playing with number 10. I have that, hence I remember. So when was the first time that Messi played with a number 10 jersey? You want to go back in time and create a video which is growing with time. All these key moments we identified by image processing. We leverage metadata creation and computer vision, which Dr. Shavi also highlighted, that I wish that video of 45 minutes wasn't a silent video, it was a conversational video. So luckily for us, the football videos had background commentary, multiple languages itself, but it's okay because language translation is a possibility now. So the solution that we develop for them takes in the video, identifies the key moments like red, yellow, goal post, celebrities like Ronaldo, Messi, David Beckham, all those key players moments, but you also want to ensure that there is accuracy when we are giving you the output. So for that accuracy, we used the speech to text, whatever was the commentary at the back end. We started playing it frame by frame to ensure that the words and the player are matching. It could be at times the video is of Messi, but commentator is saying that Ronaldo plays a better shot than Messi. So then there'll be a conflict. Then what is the chance that you search, just like Dr. Shavi searched for that information, that Messi is there? So when you ask for Messi, there could be a time frame where Messi's name is there, but Messi is not in the video frame. So that needs to be improved as an accuracy, and that's where Quantify comes in the picture. That while Google will give you a standard solution, we will customize it for your requirement, increase the accuracy, and give you the higher prediction accuracy. I know I've taken a lot of time. We can move forward. Yeah, this is who we are. Again, I know I don't want to beat the drums. This is, as an organization, we are 4,000 plus people, 2,300 plus are dedicated to Google Cloud innovation. How this helps is you have a person to talk to in Quantify. If you are facing any challenges, you can reach out to us and we will help you understand BigQuery, understand AI/ML. We can have dedicated sessions just like this. Well, this is more business, but this is an introduction of Quantify to the larger audience. You want to have dedicated sessions, we'll conduct those to help you understand how to open up the Google Cloud Console, how to set up your account, how to integrate your BQ setup in your own projects, etc. Again, these are just certifications. Is like we are the most certified partner of Google Cloud across the globe, including the likes of the big GSIs. And we can move forward. We have enough and more to excite you, entice you, and get you started on new and upcoming research projects. Because at any given point in time, we are working on 170 plus unique AI/ML projects. This is the solution portfolio. Again, this is just to give you a feeler of how machines are able to see things through computer vision for the World Cup and the football matches that I was speaking of. How machines are able to identify the celebrities, moments in the videos, how machines are able to speech to text translation. You're able to communicate with the machine. They're able to understand language. So if you write in Arabic, they'll be able to pick up what you have prompted and will give you an output in line with your expectations. And then lastly is the deduce patterns. Deduce patterns is you have huge data set, you want to find the insights that are there. One key insight that we figured out while we were working with Rema and team is the number of women who are getting educated in Qatar University is insanely high, and that's to the women empowerment, and that we could not have understood without deep diving into the data. So kudos to the Qatar University team. It's really a champion in creating that kind of a learning platform for helping everyone learn, and the women here are taking a first step. So I would say a big clap for all of you. This is, in a nutshell, what we can offer, train, guide, handhold, because the world out there, when you step out and work in an organization going forward, you would be expected to know these things, these solutions, because the world out there is already learning and adapting. So we can help you get ready with creating applications, creating those solutions which uses AI at the back end, design thinking, and so on and so forth. We can move forward. Yeah. So this is the part where people are asking questions on how can generative AI help me? Give me that kind of a unique experience for me to ask questions on the domain. Let's say you're working on a research paper. You ask all the research papers that have been conducted in this space. What can I learn from them? The other part is, can you help me create a summary of the entire research paper? I'm just giving examples, but content summarization is also one key thing. You prompted the entire information and they're giving you output. Conversational interface just to enable that user interface and experience of consumer. Code generation for any of the developers out here who would love to not do the technical documentation, because that's the most tedious part. You create that code, but you have to explain it to someone. How can you use AI to help you create those documents for someone else? You just work on creating that code, let the mundane routine tasks be taken care of by the machines. That's what I would do. And multimodal, as also Dr. Shavi highlighted, you can interact with the machines with images, content, text, and videos, etc. So all of that is there. This also Dr. Shavi highlighted. I would love to say that you can take a picture of this. It was a shorter version in Dr. Shavi's bigger vision. This is how we identify the priority use cases which you should start actioning upon. You identify the technical feasibility on the lower x-axis and the value that those use cases will derive for you in the long run, to identify the key priority use cases that you should be working on or prioritizing. And we have divided into three segments. One is high value, but easier to implement. One is quick implementation, higher value as well. And then there's something which is difficult to implement and does not give you right value. So what kind of research project should you choose going forward? You can create this kind of a memory map or a bubble chart, give the higher weightage to something which will give higher value of, let's say, savings or cost efficiency, and is also easier to implement. Any questions so far? Happy to answer, and we can move forward. I know mine is yes, sir.
Interested in the first part of your talk. What about DART?
Yes.
The DART app. I mean, if you explain a little bit better how a complex system like mammal
Yes.
can be mimicked. Thank you very much. Can be mimicked by using AI. By the way, we are heavily using AI and deep machine learning to develop drugs, but we are still depending upon the animals, first of all, because those are gold standard for transposing the results to the clinical set. And to me, my vision, it's a little bit hard to understand how AI could help me really in summarizing an animal. Or in other words, how can you feed the AI to provide those information? Whether I believe it could be helpful as predictor, I'm not fully convinced, but this is your job to use this kind of technology replacing animal studies. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Beautiful question. Yes, again, the intent is not to completely replace. The intent is to ensure that you can recreate simulations which are very, very close to the near simulation. What we have observed, again, I wouldn't want to quote it, but 90-95% accuracy in terms of some of the most commonly used drug synthesis on the protein strands. So AlphaFold is able to look into the historical data of the genome, create that protein synthesis, RNAs, DNA sequences, and then you splice that particular gene sequence at a particular position, and you already have the drugs, I would say, topography, pardon me for the not the right language, but the protein synthesis structure in the medicine. You just add it there, create those multiple simulation. That's where actually generative AI is going to help, because it can recreate 100,000 simulations in less than 10 minutes. And that is going to expedite the discovery cycle time, all the ramifications, all the side effects of the possible each and every 100,000 option that you have chosen. What could be the sequence or the side effects in those, and which is the most appropriate sequence or the genome sequence that you should take for further discovery. So that's one thing. And we would definitely want to replace all the animals in the near future, but then there are certain critical drugs where you need to have further investigation done. So the way we say it is human in the loop, in this case, animal in the loop. So human in the loop is a doctor who is an expert, and that's what we did for the brain hemorrhage with John Hopkins. The doctor who's an AI expert will get the right kind of suggestions from the AI model that this is the blood clot in this particular area, it is there, and the doctor will then take the matter in their hands and suggest what kind of operative surgery they have to perform. So I know this is a very, very long conversation, which we can definitely have. Any exciting things that we'd want to bring out, happy to share. This one I'll definitely work with you.
This is what we are actually doing.
Yes.
What you are saying, this is what we are actually doing before going to the animals in order to save and to reduce the number of animals. We follow the 3R principle. One of the R is reduce the animals. So
Yes.
all what you mentioned, we are currently doing to preserve the number of animals. But I was curious, and this is my ignorance, to learn how can you mimic. I mean, a mammal is
Complex.
is very complex
Very
machine. We are mammals as well.
Yes.
So I will appreciate much more information about
Sure.
this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yes, indeed, the 3Rs is the way forward. The world is looking at reducing the use of animals and reusing whatever has already been synthesized. And universities are the, I would say, epicenter of all the innovation. And we've also innovated with universities across the globe. And that's why we would love to work with the R&D teams at your end, identify quick projects, all the research grant that have been allocated. How can we bring our knowledge in the other universities and share with you so that you can do those faster? Yes, we can move forward. Yeah, I know I have taken a lot of time. Any questions before I pass on the stage to my colleague? Thank you so much. So now the conversation will become much more exciting because you will actually see real world application of data and AI, how you can understand the customer persona before you interact. Let's say an Uber knows that I'm supposed to travel from the airport to Qatar University. And the moment I land, they have the right recommendation so that I don't have to add or type that few keywords onto Uber. And that's where design thinking comes in picture. That's where understanding your customers comes in picture. Imagine you are working 12 in the night and Talabat notification pops up. Hey, we know that you're hungry. Would you want to order this food? And they give you the right suggestion that you're looking for. So that is personalized experiences. And that's where Hussein and team will come and share with you how you can personalize the experiences for your audiences. Thank you so much. You've been a wonderful audience.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I know we started early in the morning. I'm not sure whether it's afternoon already, but good morning or good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hussain. I lead the global consumer analytics or smart analytics practice for Quantify. Been in this ecosystem of analyzing consumer, customer, or end user data to derive patterns, build predictive analytics models, and now sort of augmenting these implementations or solutions, or addressing these problems leveraging generative AI. I know up till now everybody's spoken with a lot of slide, a lot of context, a lot of generative AI. I maybe want to take a different approach and open a can of worms. I know there is a mix of students, some faculty members, some department heads within this audience here. If I were to ask a question to all of the students and all of the members here, that what would be, let's say, an area of industry which is an interest that people would want to focus on or work with once they graduate from here, or if there are any problems or challenges that they face within the education organization and within Qatar University as well, that they would want to solve for in any capacity, or things that they can do better. Would there be anybody who would happy to kind of share their thoughts on this? It's an open space. We're all having a conversation. I promise I'm not going to bore you guys with too many slides. None? Okay. All right. So fundamentally, my journey as part of how I wanted to get into the world of technology started about a decade and a half back. Prior to this, my objective was I was very fascinated by contemporary advertising. When we talk about consumers, when we talk about marketing, when we talk about advertising, fundamentally, a human at a given point in time, at an average, is exposed to about 5 to 10,000 ads in a given day. Have we ever realized the amount of exposure certain messaging, certain brands, or certain content has on us, I'm not sure if anybody would have given a thought. Like, let's say, for example, this slide where we are talking about the name Quantify again and again, or where we are talking about the name Google again and again, subconsciously also derives that message that, hey, these are the folks that are trying to pass on a message that they are here as, generative AI experts and technology leaders trying to position or, an idea or a way of thinking in any capacity. So that's essentially what sparked my interest in terms of pivoting from traditional business courses to taking a stab at how technology can aid or give me more insights into situations like this. When we talk about smart analytics at Quantify, I just want to, quickly cover what we do and how we've broken down certain things, right? And also speak about something that we also solve for working with a lot of members within Qatar University as a team. Fundamentally, how we break this entire construct down is to understand, to acquire, to personalize, to retain, and now to augment everything with generative AI. Uh, this solution pillar per se, or this entire flow per se, was carved looking at a broad stroke flow of things that every industry, every organization in some shape or form falls into when they're talking about everything which is their end user, end consumer, end customer, etc. So when we're talking about understand, what we're trying to focus here is who is my end user? If I am selling a product, if I'm into a service, who is it that I'm eventually interacting with? As part of an ecosystem, there is a lot of data, there is a lot of interactions that organizations record. However, most organizations essentially don't know what to do with that data or how to make sense of that data. We spoke about a lot of technology stacks where we are talking about data warehouses, Vertex AI, machine learning, understand data better, so on and so forth. But where does a journey start for any consumer per se? So when we're talking about students at Qatar University, one of the problems that we wanted to address with the larger team here is understanding the sentiments of students and how can Qatar University better solve for or provide areas of improvement to certain problems that students face. As part of this, there are a lot of surveys that are sent out to faculty members, to a lot of students in terms of how their courses are going, what are they liking, what are they not liking. There's a lot of data already present around this. The objective was to define some semblance into that data and build a solution that helps the larger team, the admins, the faculty members get more insights in terms of students' sentiments in general as to what are they happy with, what are they not happy with, what needs to improve in any capacity. And that's where we started the entire conversation as to how can we leverage some of this information to enable certain, solutions that can improve a student's sentiment overall, where people are not leaving university because of some reason that could have been addressed a little bit more proactively and solved for. When we talk about, let's say, acquisition, personalization, or retention, these are nothing but machine learning or data-driven solutions or some of those point problems that we've solved for as part of what machines can do or what machines can solve for. Whatever data that you have as part of any enrichment that can be thrown into to provide or derive those insights, that's where all of these use cases stem from. And then now with the advent of everything which is generative AI, uh, I'm not sure how many of here are people or students who've gotten into IT or who've gotten into computer science where you've had to learn complex languages, different syntaxes. One of the podcasts that I was listening to, which had a very interesting comment about everything that is prompt engineering these days, the future of programming language over the course of next 2 to 5 years is not going to be a syntax-based language. It's probably going to be English. Everything that we speak about in terms of how we are leveraging generative AI is prompt-driven or natural language-driven. And when we talk about insights, analytics, machine learning, inferences, agentic solutions, skill-based flows, all of that is sort of derived by writing natural language prompts. So what I want to do is maybe take you guys through one of the solutions and then deep dive a little bit more into what type of point solutions generative AI is solving for. And we can maybe have some more questions from the audience if there is any area of interest that, kind of resonates with everyone. Awesome. Okay, so this is one of the implementations or essentially one of the demos or prototypes that we've created. All right, I should not test the HDMI port. All right, so essentially this is one of the a demonstration or an accelerator that we've tried to play around with to sort of create those implementations where we have generative AI focused solutions. It sort of emulates an e-commerce industry data set where some of the implementations that we wanted to focus on is how you can leverage natural language to mine data, to generate insights, to generate charts, reports, build dashboards, and so on and so forth. We also wanted to give it an ability to sort of understand, automate, and schedule tasks. What these tasks could mean is, let's say if I'm running inferences, if I am trying to trigger an API, train a model, generate any sort of an output which is API driven, what can I do as part of that integration where I'm leveraging natural language to perform those tasks? Can LLM suggest me proactive next steps in terms of the actions that I'm supposed to take as part of the data-driven decision making, and then how seamlessly I can automate the entire process in any capacity. So fundamentally, we've tried to fit all of these capabilities into one sort of a natural language defined generative AI powered chat widget where, let's say, I wanted to know first how many of my customers are from a specific location so that I can figure out a way how to take better decisions for those audiences. As part of the prompt, what we're trying to ask the model is give me a definitive count of all of my customers in a specific region. And as assessing this entire query, what it would do is sort of break it down into different parts and sections. One, as part of the natural language itself, it's asking for a count of customer. Second, it's addressing a specific region. Let's say if you had prompts where you're looking at more demographic data, more behavioral insights, it would point to those data sets as well, and it would get you those insights in any capacity. Another capability that we also wanted to introduce as part of generative AI is how reinforcement learning works. So for example, if I had the same application available to this entire audience, you would be asking fundamental questions in terms of what you want as part of insights and analytics. What it would also do is, based on the questions that you are asking, it would classify and categorize those questions to provide recommendations to your peers. So let's say if I'm searching for a list of customers from a specific area, would my next insight be give me the product category preferences, sentiment score, payment types, order statuses, so on and so forth. And the objective of the whole construct of data mining and insights is I should be able to generate charts, visual components, build dashboards at a near real time as much as I'm able to derive insights. So in this construct, let's say for all of these recommended questions, and that happens every time. So as part of all that entire construct, let's say if my objective was to create a report or create an analysis, all I need to do is feed in or connect my model to the right data set, and I can query that data frame in any and all capacity. This is from a solution standpoint, not just limited to one industry or one type of data set. What we've learned so far from building agentic flows or fine-tuning model on certain data frames, you can go ahead and connect it to any and every database in general. So even if I'm maintaining a repository of all of the content that I own at a personal level, I can essentially fine tune the model to give that experience of a chat widget sort of a layer where natural language sort of gives you any and every insights. So outside of certain components on deriving insights and analytics, I know we spoke about how generative AI is generating code, how it is refactoring certain code explanations, what type of layouts you can essentially visualize or create. For any of these reports or insights generated, it will also generate a SQL query for you. If you need any different formats of code generated, it would do that. It would create any tabular structure for any graphical representation. You should be able to save these insights, download these insights, add them to a dashboard of your choice in any capacity. Uh, Outside of this, let's say I want to also understand if there is a probability of these customers sort of churning out for any reason. So I just simply need to ask it. And then whenever I would have retrained the model or generated an inference for this particular audience, it would give me an insight from that capacity. So what this says is the last inference that was generated was in month of April, where the churn probability of these customers leaving your brand or your product was at 40%. And then if there are no actions taken, it would also show you that predictive churn in any and all formats. Let's say if I wanted to get more interactions in terms of how do I mitigate this churn rate? And the model will tell you that, hey, you can mitigate this churn rate by smartly executing certain campaigns. And as part of the insight, it will also give me uh, a particular information on certain conversion percentages if I'm sending my users emails, SMSs, push notifications, etc. And let's say if I wanted to also generate content, suggest um, and I can simply ask it that, hey, suggest me some email templates that will allow me to interact with this audience in any capacity. So it'll have that content generated for you as well. As part of the capability, what we wanted to try and cover is the entire process. If this was, managed by somebody who's like an analyst or somebody who's in the operations team or the marketing team, this entire exercise would have been at least a 2-week process where a CMO or a business manager would have wanted, hey, I want to understand what is the audience base for a particular region and what are we doing to address them or what are we doing to promote certain products or offers. That information would have been shared to the larger team. The larger team would have gone through the entire database. If they didn't have access to their database, they would have gone to the IT team, the database team, gotten access, figured out a data analyst who can write these queries, generate a dashboard, come back to it, validate it, and then present it to anybody else. Wherein the entire process of generating these insights took, I would believe, not more than 60 seconds for us. So when we talk about how generative AI is leveraged, and when we see all of the slides, videos, and demos, these are some of the real world solutions that are also implemented for different organizations at different scale, at different capacity as well. One of the examples on, I would say, content generation that was a funny incident with an organization. Unfortunately, I can't name the organization, but it rhymes with Fortnite as a game. They're a cybersecurity firm. And for them to leverage generative AI to generate any sort of content, the problems that they were facing is when the model would hallucinate, it would start generating content of the game versus the company. So what type of implementations or how you can fine tune the model to give you that right response or that right measure of answer for your questions or queries is the name of the game when we speak to generative AI. And with that, I will pass it on to Ashutosh, who's one of our generative AI experts, who will show you more in terms of what we've solved for within the industries, within different organizations, and also deep dive on some of the agentic flows and skill-based solutions that we spoke about earlier. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Hussein, for that. I just want to let the audience know that there's a slight change in the agenda. We will be having our lunch break at the end of this workshop, which will be at 12 o'clock. So from 12 to 12:30 will be the lunch break. We will have our last speaker for now, and inshallah, the lunch break will be after that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Hi, all. Nice to meet you all. Nice to be here. It's a pleasure. And so I'll just give a quick round of introduction of myself. So I'm Ashutosh, and I lead the generative AI efforts for Quantify, and I have had the opportunity and the privilege actually to work with a lot of great educational institutions in the US. And speaking to them, we've come across various problems, various landscapes where we have room for improvement, and what are the problems that they are facing. And with all these problem statements, I think we were able to categorize them into three broad buckets, which is basically some problems that are faced by the learners, some problems that are faced by the faculty, and some problems that are faced by the IT staff. So most of the problems that IT staff faces was just covered by my friend Hussein, where we saw how we can capture a huge amount of database and how we can use that data to make predictive analysis or maybe predict the next possible move. But when we talk about learners and faculties, the problem is on more on the ground level. So it can be related to data, it can be related to how can I improve my efficiency and how can I improve my life using these AI models. And for faculty, it can be how can I improve my student's journey, how can I improve my student success, how can I not confuse student a lot more. So some of the common key points that we hear is from students that we hear is, hey, how can I use this AI that can help me 24/7? How can I personalize content? How can I find recommendations? Whereas for faculty, it's how can I provide some feedback? So in Quantify, I think we started back in 2018. We started this journey with AI Tutor, where we were able to build this thing called cloud learning platform along with Google. So we experimented a lot with machine learning and how these models can function, and how it can be used as microservices to improve students' life and efficiency. So before I actually deep dive into the aspects of generative AI and like what have we done in this field, I would just like to take a step back and reflect on what Dr. Chokshi just said, and what exactly are the things that generative AI can do. What is it? What are the things it's really good at, inherently it's really good at, and what are the things it would need our help? So when we talk of generative AI, as we saw the demo, it's really good at searching for things. So provided a huge data repository, provided with all the video data, like 2 hour long data, and then just ask it, okay, can you show me where Messi was, or probably can you show me what happened in this scene, or what was the key extract from this paragraph. So it's really good at finding needle in the haystack. It's solving that problem. And and the next part of something that's really good at it is at content generation. So for professors, for teachers, what it can do is you can give the model a complete breakdown of your course curriculum, and then you can ask, okay, can you please help me generate some assessment content, or probably can you help me generate some flyers, or can you help me generate some diagrams. So these things are something that generative AI is really good at. And while I talk about generation, it's also good at translating content. So I think one of the speaker guests had a question about what how translation can be improved, and how I mean, translation API is doing really well, but how we can leverage generative AI to even improve the accuracy of the models. So that is where we talk about the agentic workflow, or what an agent would look like. So an agent is something basically what an agent would do is it would work on certain guardrails and certain rules that you have defined. So be it task automation. So how can I combine the search capability and how can I combine the generation capability and create an entire workflow? So it can start with, okay, probably I want to conduct a research on sustainable aviation fuels. So can AI help me, track all the relevant resources so I can have all the resources in place? And once I've written my entire thesis, can AI help me at least, like automate the process of tagging citations to each of those paragraphs or each of those messages? So these are some things that AI would be really good at once we have defined all the key attributes and the key guardrails and the rules that it should be working on. Thank you. So how we see the entire solution is somewhat of an agentic approach and building an agentic operating system. So the first principle of the fundamental principle of having an agentic approach for an AI system is to have all the data at one place, be it your LMS data, be it your SIS data, be it your academic data. Everything should be at one place so that this agent would have access to use all this data together. Next would be using everything as a tool. So when I say using everything as a tool, it basically means how can I develop certain use cases, and how can this agent use all those use cases at once to generate content, or probably provide me with feedback or help me write better. And then using the same components again with various other agents. So I can probably build one agent for my students, and then I can probably build another agent for my teachers that can help them. Yeah. And this would definitely cover all the personas that we just spoke about, which is the learner, faculty, and IT staff. So before I move on to the demo, I would love to take any questions. If there are any questions, I would love to clear them. Okay. So for the demo, I would like to show actually a real world implementation on how did we solve for a leading